Hi again, welcome back to Elements for Bloggers. I'm Jenny Elliott, and in this short lesson we'll learn about layers. You'll understand how layers work in the editor. You'll learn how to create, duplicate, delete, and move layers. And finally, you'll learn how to change the opacity of a layer to control how one layer interacts with the layers below it. So let's get started. Alright, we're back here in the editor, and like I said, this is going to be a very short lesson. It's not necessarily that you'll be creating a project out of what we learn here, but this is the foundation of everything we're going to do from this point forward. If you don't understand layers, you're going to have a hard time with everything else. So here's just the basics. Layers are arguably the most important and most powerful feature in Elements and in the full version of Photoshop. So let's just dive right in here to layers. You'll see over here on the right hand side I have my layers panel open. Once again, if you don't have this here, you can go to Window and then make sure layers is turned on here. The layers are read by the program really from top to bottom. So top is going to be the thing that's in the front. It's the thing the furthest towards you in your image. All the way down until you get to the back. This layer here at the very bottom is what's furthest back, or in our case it's the white background. You can turn a layer on and off by using this little eye symbol. Just by clicking it, you remove that layer from view. So you'll see this little checkerboard pattern here. That's just Element's way of telling you that that's transparent. There is no information here, no color, nothing. So I'll turn it back on here. And you'll see here that I've got a number of different squares and rectangles that I've already created ahead of time to show you what layers do. So when I click on this violet layer here, you'll see the bounding box appear around the edges of it. Now because this is the furthest back among our different rectangles here, you can't see the whole thing. If you want to bring a layer towards the front, you have to drag it. So you'll click and drag it upward in the layers panel. So there we go. I just drug the violet rectangle above or in front of where the blue rectangle is. You can do this as many times as you want. Basically, every time you bump it up a layer, it's going to go in front of that layer on your screen. So if I drag it all the way to the top, then it will be the topmost layer. And you can see no matter where I have it around here, it's now on top of everything. I'll drag it back down a little bit and you'll see that no matter where I drag it around inside my workspace, it's always going to be below these three layers, the red, orange, and yellow that I named over here, and it's always going to be above these two layers. So just for demonstration purposes, I'm going to bump it back up a level, and now we'll talk about opacity. Up here in the top right hand part of the layers panel, you'll see a toggle where you can push this little down arrow and it'll give you the toggle for opacity. All this does is control how transparent this whole entire layer, that means everything that's in that layer, is. So if you turn down the opacity, you'll see that suddenly it becomes more transparent. What used to look like violet doesn't look like violet anymore. It now looks more like a kind of lavender color. And that's because what's behind it here, the white, is coming through that. And the same with the other layers that were behind it. All of those are showing through this shape because the opacity is turned down on it. So I'm going to turn that back up. And you will notice too that when you change the opacity on any given layer, you don't do anything to the opacity of the layers around it. But it is that way no matter where in the workspace you have it. Now let's say I get a layer that looks now, it's exactly like I want it. I don't want to be able to change it at all. You'll see that just normally I can kind of grab anything on any layer and move it around. And as I click the layers over here, as I click the shapes that are in different layers, because I have the auto select layer option checked, it will just go ahead and grab whatever is in that layer that's beneath my cursor. So I can just move these around freeform however I want to. But let's say I get something that looks really nice and I don't want to change it. Like I love the way that this purple or the violet and that orange look together there, and maybe the green too. Then what I would do is lock those layers so that they cannot be edited anymore. It's really easy, especially when we get into the more advanced stuff, to accidentally grab the wrong layer and just mess something up. And while you can always do undo, sometimes you don't notice that that's happened. So once I get something looking the way I want it to, I'll go ahead and lock that layer. So let me find my violet layer. It's always really helpful to name these, by the way, whatever's happening in that layer so you can find them easily. Violet layer, and I'm going to go down here to the bottom of the layers panel and I will click lock all. So whatever is inside that layer is now locked. Look, I can't select it, I can't drag it anywhere. I can drag anything else still that's around here, but I can't do anything to that violet layer. So, and I wanted to do the same thing for orange, let's say. Click lock, and my green. Click lock. And so now those things are going to be static in my image. I cannot change them even if I want to. I would have to go back down, click on the layer, and click the lock button again to unlock it and free it back up. So I've showed you how to move these layers around, how to lock them, and how to change the opacity. The last thing I'm going to do, last couple things, is we're going to delete a layer and we're going to rename a layer. So if I have two layers here, let's see, I'm going to create a new layer, and let's say I want it to appear right here above the blue layer. So I'm going to click this little thing that looks like a sticky note tearing away here, and that will be our new layer. And I'll just click undo here so I can show you a shortcut to that. If you want to create a new layer just with shortcut keys, you can do Shift, Control, and N on a PC, or Shift, Command, and N, as in new, on the Mac. So when you create a new layer, you have the ability to change the name of it. So I'm going to go ahead and call this one Green Circle, and it's going to be right here. So I'm just going to go ahead and draw something on the inside of this. I'm going to hold down here on my shape tool and I'll choose the ellipse. Now let's pick a nice color here. Ooh, how about that nice green right there. And I'm going to click and drag this while holding down Shift. We'll make it a perfect circle. So there we go. Then I'll let it go. So I like this circle, but what if I decide in my composition that I don't want to keep it green? Let's change the color of this. And if this is moving too fast for you, don't worry. This lesson is not about shapes. This lesson is just about layers, and I'm demonstrating some stuff. So we will be returning to shapes in just a few lessons here, and I'll teach you all about how to do that. But I'm going to change back to my shape tool here, and let's change my color. Okay, that's a nice kind of, oh, look at that nice little baby pink color. I'll keep that one. So now I have my nice baby pink color, and I can go back to my move tool and just drag it wherever I want it in my composition. But I'm remembering now that when I click on this, the layer it's in is called Green Circle. If I want to change the name of it, all I have to do is double click over here on the name in the layers panel, and I can change it to Pink Circle. And finally, you can delete a layer. There are a few ways of doing this. You can either select something that's in that layer, like right here I can select the yellow square that I have, and I can either push delete, in which case it will ask me, do I really want to delete this? I'll say yes. But another way you can do it is by taking the whole layer over here in the layers panel and dragging it into the little trash can. So let's see here. I'll take this green rectangle that I did, and I'm going to hold the layer itself over here on the right, green, and I will drag it. You see when you hover over the trash can, it kind of depresses, so you can see that you're dragging it in there, and let go. So those are a couple different ways that you can delete a layer. To sum up, layers are read from top to bottom. You can rearrange your layers, putting things in front or behind by simply moving layers up and down here in the layers panel. You can lock or unlock layers, rename them, create a new layer, or delete a layer. So those are just the basic functions, and we'll get into how to use these powerful tools coming up starting in the next lesson. So no homework for you this time, just wanted to explain a principle to you, and I will see you in the next lesson.